Hey guys, this is Cameron. Welcome to the Metal Roofing Learning Channel. Today we're going to be doing a installation of our peak trim. It's a WS419. We're running an 1 3/4 black and copper snap block 18-inch wide panel. First off, we're going to set our peak trim up and start doing some layout. So let's get started.
This is the Metal Roofing Learning Channel, brought to you by Western States Metal Roofing, where you can find a variety of colors and finishes, all while saving by buying factory direct. Use of the following video content is subject to the warning, disclaimer of warranties, and limitation of liability as set forth on this screen.
All right, so first step, once we set this peak trim up here, we're going to mark the very front edge of it once this is laid completely flat on the roof panel itself. And then I'm going to step over here. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Once we have the front of this peak trim marked out, we know where the overall trim is going to land up on the panels. We're going to come over to the back side or the high side of the roof, and we're going to do a little layout for the actual trim cleat on the peak of the roof. This makes it to where there's no exposed fasteners, so it's just a concealed clip system. So first off, we're going to mark right where the bend of the 45-degree kick starts, and then we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Okay, and once we have that, we can now take the peak trim off. As you can see, we have a pretty small mock-up. What we're going to end up doing is coming up a 1/2 inch for the start of our Z-closure, or the end of it, I should say. That way there's a 1/2 inch gap between the actual peak trim and where your Z-closure is going to start. From there, you have to measure your Z-closure and find the center of the back leg where you're going to be fastening through and install all of your mastic. You can click the link above for a Z-closure installation and get better explanation on that. On a larger roof application, I would recommend taking a string line and actually string lining a mark along the front. You just want to make sure that you're not using a permanent color chalk in your string line. For this application, I'm just going to be running a straight edge across the front of this. That way you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. This line is going to be lining up directly with the kick on our trim cleat. So when we go to install this, which we'll do here in just a second, we can line that mark up right there on the corner, and we're going to be installing pancake head screws roughly every 12 inches on center. To start off, I'm going to be pinning one end of it, and then I'm going to go down to the other end, make sure that I get everything flushed up, and then I'll come back through and fill in with screws. Now that we have this piece pinned both on the left and the right hand side, I'm going to come back through and fill in roughly 12 inches on center with pancake screws. Now that we have this all installed, we're going to go through and install all of our Z-closure as well as our mastic tape. That's also going to be seen on the video link above, and then we can get going on installing our peak trim. Now that you have your Z-closure all installed, I would recommend leaving the mastic off the top of it and also the caulk as well. You definitely want to put one piece of your trim cleat on first. Make sure that just test fit everything once your Z-closure is on. Test fit everything, make sure it's all going to fit, and now we're ready to install our peak trim. We're just going to do a test run like a dry fit right now and just make sure everything fits. Okay, so it looks like everything's working with the trim cleat. Now we can take it off. We're going to run our mastic across the top of our Z-closure. We're also going to caulk the backside of the highs on the Z-closure, and then we'll throw this on and keep going. All right, so now that we have all of our mastic done and also the back side of the highs caulked, we're gonna go ahead and install our peak trim. All right, so on a standard roof application, you're gonna be running your gable trims up. Your gable trim is actually gonna come in here. It's gonna come underneath your peak trim, and your gable trim is gonna fold around the front face, and you can pop rivet there on the face, and that's what'll close off this void that you're seeing right now. That's also what this hem is cut at a 45-degree angle for, is for when your gable trim comes up. You're gonna cut that at a 45 going the exact same way, and the two hems will line up with one another. So now that we've got this installed, we're gonna go along the front face into the Z-closure and pop rivet roughly every 12 inches on center. All right, we got everything pop riveted now. Everything's all tied in together. That's the end of the installation on the WS419. If you like the video, give us a like, give us a follow, and drop any comments down below if you have any questions.
To learn how to overlap peak trim and how to cut peak trim at gable ends, check out our step-by-step video, link in the description below. Want to learn more? Check out these videos.